Hi, my name is Cathryn Taylor, and this is a part of a series that I'm doing on addictive behavior, the inner child work, the grief process, and interfacing all of those with the emotional freedom techniques brought forth by Gary Craig. If you're not familiar with EFT, which is the tapping, it's a self-administered form of acupressure, then I encourage you, before you watch these videos, to visit Gary's website, which is mofree.com. There's also information on my website, www.joincathryntaylor.com, which speaks to this as well. I'm coming into this assuming that you know how to do the sequences. If you just want to watch and kind of observe, that's fine too. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the second stage of grief, which is the bargaining phase. Now, these grief stages are based on Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's version of the grief process that she observed when she was working with people who were dealing with terminal disease, specifically cancer. The bargaining phase appears in our lives every day. Anytime you get anxious, which is the first stage of grief, which I just dealt with in the last video, and you can't resolve or deal with that anxiety, what you do is you start trying to manage it by controlling, fixing, or trying to change your situation. That's the bargaining phase. We see that in our addictive behaviors, if it's specifically related to our addiction, when we start trying to manage the amount of input or the time that we'll act out. Sometimes it's chemicals, sometimes it's shopping, sometimes we can be addicted to anything. We're basically a society in mourning, and we have no tools to grieve. One of the books that I wrote that you may want to refer to is called Life Beyond Confusion and Fear, and it illustrates the 3 stages of addiction and then the 3 stages of recovery. In that book, I talk about how the underlying issue with addiction most often is either a real or a perceived loss, which results in the anxiety, which we need to manage some way. And we either manage it by numbing ourselves out to the addictions, or we get focused on more of the codependent angle of it, which is trying to control it and fix it. If you're addicted to shopping, for instance, you may try to control it by deciding that you will only shop when there are sales. So you start putting limits on your acting out behavior. You may do it with your smoking or your drinking by being, saying that I'm only going to smoke or drink at a certain point in time. Now, if you're dealing with chemical dependency, there is a biochemical piece to this that really needs to be addressed. Once you've activated the addictive disease, then you really need to deal with that. Now, the EFT and the grief can still be used to manage your feelings in response to that. But if you don't intervene in the consumption of your addictive substance, you're not going to get anywhere. So EFT is meant to enhance that process. Now, you can use it to mitigate your cravings for it, but you really need to address and intervene in the actual use of the chemicals. The bargaining stage is going to emerge again when the anxiety gets out of control. So I'm going to do an EFT sequence that can just help take the edge off of that bargaining and that need to control it, so you come back into a state of faith and calm. Because that's really the antidote for all loss, is coming back into the faith and the connectedness and the oneness with our higher self. So again, if you don't know what the EFT is, just follow me, and I'm just going to give you a taste of this, which hopefully will encourage you then to begin to do your own process. I also encourage you to visit my website, which has other resources for you. All right, so we're going to do the setup phrase on the bargaining phase of grief, which then leads to addictive behavior or acting out. Even though part of me is really trying to manage my anxiety by controlling this situation, I absolutely understand that the control is beyond my ability to do so. So even though I'm really trying to manage this by changing it or by focusing on some way to limit it, I recognize that the real resolution to this frenetic bargaining is to come back into a state of faith and calm. So even though I feel just really out of sorts with this, and I'm just fixated on trying to change, fix, or control this situation or this person, I know in my heart of hearts I can't do it. And I choose to neutralize that part of me so that he or she can come back into the fold and stand in the vibration of unconditional love. So that's the setup. The setup phrase is dealing with the ambivalence, the two sides of it. Now we're going to neutralize it, move into a state of possibility, and end on the conviction that we're back in a state of faith. Again, just follow through, or follow with me. Really feel a need to control this. Maybe if I limit my acting out, it'll work. Maybe if I don't drink after 5. Maybe if I only smoke when I'm outside. Maybe if I limit my shopping to just sprees that exist when there's a sale. Trying to bargain, trying to control. So much energy going into trying to manage this out of control behavior. When the true thing is I just need to surrender. I need to help that little part of me who's so out of shape, trying to control, fix, or change. I need to bring that part of me back into the center where we can together feel a sense of calm. Really want to take the edge off of this need to control or change or fix. Really want to breathe back into a state of calm. Want to surrender to being powerless in this situation. Once it gets started, it is the addictive aspect, the adrenaline rush over which I have no control. I really want to neutralize that frenetic energy that leads to me making bad choices. I choose to do so now. I choose to stand in the center of the light. I choose to bring in my higher power. I choose to give up the need to control, fix, or change. I surrender to the outcome. I can take action on my behalf, but I surrender the outcome, and I only take action when it's from a state of calm, when it originates from a state of harmony, peace, and calm. I stand in the light of the vibration of faith, trust, and harmony. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that gives you an idea of how to take the edge off. I really encourage you to keep doing rounds until you move that energy, and every action that you take is taken from that solid sense of self and not a reactive sense of needing to bargain with your behavior or your loss or your anxiety.